bids, contracts, proposals, service request. It's the fire apparatus proposal, and I will let Chief, I'll let you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Being relatively new, one of the things I want to do was assess our fire apparatus and firefighting capabilities, and we put together a committee of personnel to kind of look into it a little further to see what we felt would be the immediate needs to best serve the city. When we looked at it, the oldest piece of equipment we have is the ladder truck. It's a 1988 ladder truck that was purchased, actually used, from Newtown, Pennsylvania. So, at the time that it was constructed, the standards were not as stringent as they are now, and it's just like everything else with technology, things have improved. That particular truck, while we still use it, one of our biggest concerns is the safety factor. The standards changed in 1991 to strengthen the amount of weight and so forth that those aerial ladders will support. The aerial ladder we have now is rated at what they call tip, which is at the very end, how much weight you can support, and it's rated for 400 pounds. The standards allow for one firefighter fully outfitted with an air tank on their back, they allow 250 pounds for that. So that only gives you a 150-pound margin of error if you have a victim that you need to rescue. So I don't know, we don't carry scales around to say, you're too big, step aside, and the little people come first. But if there are safety overrides that will not allow it to be overloaded. So that's one issue. The other issue is it has the pump capacity, which is the amount of water it will produce, is 1,250 gallons per minute. Most newer apparatus will produce 2,000 gallons per minute. So once again, it's almost double. Going back, I forgot to tell you, the newer apparatus, the tip loading is 750 pounds. So it's almost double what the current ladder truck is now. So 750 pounds, that gives you enough margin for 2 firefighters plus a victim. The other issue is the amount of water that it carries. The current ladder truck has 200 gallons, and a newer truck, they can carry up to 500 gallons of water. So when we looked at feasibility, obviously these types of apparatus are very pricey. They're very expensive. The original budget that had been prepared was an allowance for a fire engine and equipment for the fire engine. When we look at the fire station itself, and if you've been in there, you know we have a severe height restriction. We only have 2 bays that are above 10 foot in height, and the travel height of a lot of those trucks are 11 foot or plus. So that restricts us in the type of truck that we can actually fit in the fire station without replacing a truck. So when we take all those factors into consideration, we felt like the best avenue for the city, the best investment of our money, is to purchase a ladder truck to replace the one that we bought used from Newtown, Pennsylvania. That is more than what's currently budgeted, and I've talked to Councilman Simpson before, and one of his things is show me the money. And so to offset the difference in the price of what a new truck would cost versus what we have budgeted, by replacing that truck, we can turn around and sell that truck on the used market to a department that may be smaller, serving a smaller community, but they have the need for an aerial device, for an elevated stream more so than for rescue situations. The other part of it, we have some line items, as I spelled out to you, in our current budget that we are well under what the projected budget was. So the asking price or list price for most of these trucks are going to be between $800,000 and $850,000. Most of the vendors that we have talked to have said that if we prepay or pay before we take delivery of the truck, because they're saving money in interest, they will discount that price drastically, sometimes $20,000 to $25,000 off of that. Plus, most salesmen, like every other salesman, works on commission, so they will get in competition with each other to cut their commission some to get the sale of the truck. So all that being said, what we are asking for tonight is permission to advertise a RFP, a request for proposals from vendors for trucks that are already out there on the market, because once again, because they are demonstrator units or already in production units, sometimes they will discount the price of that as well, because typically they will build these trucks. Matter of fact, we have one come by today. They take around, show them the different fire departments so you can see what their truck looks like. And because they have a little bit of road mileage on them, they will sometimes discount the price over going out and buying one brand new, built to your specification. The other reason we want to do that is to expedite things so that we're in our current fiscal year, so we don't have to worry about trying to adjust the budget, which I know we're coming up on rapidly for the next fiscal year. We had 4 members of the truck committee that traveled and looked at some different fire trucks. Some of them they couldn't bring some here, so they traveled and looked at them, and they have pretty much studied in depth as to what they think is to best suit the needs. And that committee consisted of 3 paid firefighters and 2 volunteer firefighters. So what we would ask for tonight is to advertise a request for proposals. If that was approved, once we submitted and advertised and got proposals in, my recommendation would be to let the guys on that committee review each one of the vendors' submittals to see because each one's going to be a little different, as far as one may submit a 500 horse engine and the other one may submit a 525 horse engine. That may or may not be a critical factor in our decision, but that's one thing that could make a difference. It could be a Detroit or a Cummins, for example. And we're going to look at maintenance issues and long-term investment for the city. This type of purchase will serve the city for probably the next 25 years. Because as you can see, the current truck we have now is an 88. Yes, sir.
Are you finished?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay. I have probably 2 pages of question. I wish we had a call safety committee meeting to discuss this, and since it is on the agenda, I will have to ask you some questions.
Feel free.
You had some indication in your letter, 400 pounds, was that wet or dry?
That is dry.
That is dry.
Yes, sir.
That
Yes.
88 truck tip load is 400 pounds.
Yes, sir, that's correct. And I have it, I brought the owner's manual with me, and I highlighted the page that states that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, anyway, I have some questions I need to ask you.
Sure.
Since it's on the agenda, but like I indicated, I wish you had called a safety committee meeting, because I'd like to ask you some questions.
I understand. I apologize. I had a death in the family.
Right.
And so I apologize for
Right.
not
Okay.
to you sooner.
Okay, I have many questions. I have received many complaints from city taxpayers. They question me, what is the reason they see these big trucks riding around in the city with no farm and wear and tear? And they asked me a question, who was paying for those trucks? I told them, taxpayers were paying for those
Absolutely.
trucks. And get down to the new truck, my opinion, the city should purchase a good used truck. I am against a new truck, spending almost $1 million of taxpayer money for a new truck.
Can I respond to that?
Oh, okay, let me finish this first and you
Go ahead.
respond. ISOS had issues with this new design truck. Did you know, were you aware of that?
Who's that?
ISO
ISO, I'm not familiar with ISO.
had issues with this new design, it's a new design truck.
ISO has no issues with this truck. It meets all the standards.
I know I understand all that, but
Right. Well, ISO doesn't rate fire trucks.
no, they had issues with it, I said.
No, they don't.
Okay.
No, sir. Who told you that?
Well,
They were
I could show it to you.
Sure, I'd be more than
Okay,
happy.
I mean, I don't have it present in my show.
I'd be more than happy to see it, because I know
Okay.
that.
And my next question, do the city fire department needs a new truck at this current time?
Do we, well, I'm sorry.
Do city fire department need a new fire truck at this current time? My next question, will this new fire truck guarantee decrease ISO and property owner fire insurance taxes? And also, we have 3 pumper trucks.
No, we only have 2, sir.
We got 2?
Yes, sir.
I thought we had 3.
No, sir, there's 2 pumpers.
Well, we got one with 105 ladder and you got,
Right, that's a ladder truck, it's not a pumper truck.
okay.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, they all has passed ISO inspection.
Well, ISO doesn't inspect trucks. I don't know where you got.
I mean, how do you get the rate in ISO when they come here and inspect all equipment? What do they inspect?
They are looking for ladder tests and pump tests of that particular piece of equipment and the equipment that you carry on there and that you respond that truck to the scene. For example, you all purchased a tanker truck last year.
Right.
You get no ISO credit for that truck. Okay, whereas a ladder truck, you do get credit for if it responds on every building alarm. And since I've been chief, we have implemented that. That was not the case before I became chief.
Right.
NFPA sets the standards. ISO is a rating bureau. ISO they don't enforce anything. They simply come in and grade your community's ability to provide fire protection. NFPA is the one that sets the standards as far as turnout gear, breathing apparatus, fire hose, fire nozzles, and fire apparatus. You can't sell a truck unless it meets the NFPA standard. As far as a used truck, we looked at used trucks on the market, and the problem is to get one that's less than 10 years old with probably less than 30,000 miles on it, we're going to spend $500,000 or $600,000, and you can go to many websites and look at trucks that are for sale.
Okay.
So for $500,000 or $600,000, you're buying somebody else's truck that they got rid of for whatever reason, versus buying a new truck that comes with warranties that you get no warranty on a used truck, and you're not buying maybe someone else's headaches, in my opinion. When you go to buy a piece of fire apparatus, once again, you have to look at, because when the current ladder truck was purchased, even though it met the standards at the time it was built in 1988, it doesn't meet the standards now. So whoever was in charge when they purchased that truck, they didn't realize that the tip loading is way different than it is from a truck manufactured after 1991. And to me, safety of the firefighters and our citizens is more important than anything. It's more important than the dollar. And so I would not want to, and I sent you all a picture of an aerial ladder that had failed. It looked like a twisted pretzel laying on the ground. I would not want that on my conscience at night, knowing that if I put a firefighter on that ladder and they go to rescue a victim and that ladder collapses, that we could have avoided that with a newer standard truck. Also, I'm going to start with
Let me ask you this. I'm a fireman and I'm fully dressed. I weigh about 220 right now.
Yes, sir.
Fully dressed with my apparatus, breathing apparatus, what will I come in at?
Your total gear allowance is going to be about 40 pounds, so 260, 270,
270?
somewhere in that ballpark.
So I extend that ladder up and I'm gonna rescue Mr. Buckman. I'm gonna have to, is it safe for me to do that? Do you, at the maximum level that may require that rescue, do you think this truck is unsafe?
I think it's unsafe to do that in that scenario, and here's the problem.
So I gotta throw, Mr. Buckman a bottle of water and say, hope for the best and see you.
Well, no, here's the problem. The firefighter will put their life at jeopardy, at risk to save another.
Oh, I know they will.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to prevent. May never happen. You know, I have health insurance, homeowners insurance, automobile insurance. I hope I never have to use any of it. But I can't sleep at night without knowing I have those things in place. And this is the same way when it comes to firefighter and public citizen safety, in my opinion.
Right. But you think that that truck is unsafe to use rescue?
I think in that scenario, absolutely, that if you have a firefighter and a victim that's over 150 pounds, then now we're in a situation where it could be jeopardizing not only the health and safety of the firefighter, but also the victim because of the ladder strength.
I don't know who's under 150 pounds anymore.
But I know I'm not. So.
Let me show you something, Chief. This truck here, is that a pumper truck?
Yes, sir, that's a fire engine, but it won't fit in the fire station.
Oops.
Well,
If you want to buy that truck and try to back it in the fire station, we'll rip the whole top of it off because we're limited.
Okay.
on price.
anyway, I have been on the internet, and they have many used trucks.
That's correct.
And that 88 truck was a used truck.
That's correct.
That truck had 28 years old.
That's correct.
And sometimes this new stuff is not what it's supposed to be, you know?
That's correct.
And
But a new truck comes with a warranty.
I understand all that. I understand all that. That's self-explanatory. But what my point I'm getting at, we have many used trucks, and I've been all over the internet. I have not located no used truck, the price you indicated, $500,000 or $700,000. Most of the used trucks on the internet, they're under $300,000.
Not a ladder truck, not one that's less than 10 years old, you won't find.
I've been all over the internet.
I have too, like I said, I look at it every
Show
day.
me, I mean-
And here's what I'm telling you is, y'all hired me to be your fire chief.
I understand it.
Okay, so I think my job is to advise you all of what is in the best interest of the city.
Right.
I'm not going to advise you something, if you give me a little red wagon and a bucket of water and say fight fire with it, I'll do it.
Right.
I'm not going to be very effective, but that's what I'll do. I'm trying to guide you in what I feel and what the committee of firefighters feels is in the best interest of all the citizens of Bardstown and our firefighter safety.
And let me tell you my position. Your job. My job is to represent all taxpayers. That's the
Absolutely.
reason why they put me in this seat, and I understand your job. And I'm gonna represent taxpayers and
Councilman Living, if you don't mind, can we move this on and let Councilman Bobby Simpson have?
wait till I finish. If I finish, let me move on. Because I have a right on the floor. So anyway, that's my opinion, okay? All right.
Mayor, I don't mean to, I think Ms. Copeland was wanting to ask a question.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you. Safety is very important, and I understand where you're coming from. I've heard about the weight issue and the pumping capacity for the water. You said that, because the question I had written down originally was why you were submitting a request for a new fire truck in this year's budget. But you said we're under budget. Do you know how much we're under budget? And being that you're coming in and you're taking a look at everything, the whole picture,
Yes, ma'am.
can you see anything else that's going to come up? Like, you know, are we going to see something within the next 3 months that, hey, you know, we need to address this? I mean, are you going to do a comprehensive look at the whole unit so that we don't have to keep nitpicking with what we may need or what have you? Because, you know, this is a lot of money. So if you could just give me some information. I totally understand where you're coming from, but it's just, you know, we're coming up on a new budget too. So what else are we going to need? How much are we under budget?
Right. The last printout that I had was as of the end of February. I ain't got March's printout yet. We had spent 40.46% of our budget.
Chief Walker, I did submit this to the council,
Okay, thank you for that.
so they should have it.
Okay. But anyhow, that's where we were at on our budget as of the end of February. As far as a plan, absolutely, I'm a huge believer in short and long-term planning. And The reason this came up is we had money budgeted for a fire apparatus in this year's budget already. But in looking at it, because we're so constrained by the size building that we're in, height-wise and lengthwise, there are very few apparatus manufacturers that can build a new truck that will fit in there, and to do that, it takes about 13 months. So if we ordered a truck in May, we wouldn't see it until probably June or July of next year. I think there's an immediate need in looking at the apparatus that we have now, not only from safety, but also from maintenance. Every time the ladder truck gets tested, there's issues with the torque box and the hydraulic system. And this last January, we spent about $4,000 just in repairing the hydraulic system. And so it's kind of like put a Band-Aid on, and so forth. But getting back to the plan, absolutely, I'd be more than happy to submit a 5-year plan, 3, 5, however many years that you all would think would be appropriate. I know you can't encumber another council, but at least you would have an idea of what our vision through the fire department is for protection of our citizens, because I'm not being derogatory, I'm just saying that we are woefully behind where we should be, in my opinion. And I've been doing this for 35 years. And when I look at, I know there had been discussion at the Public Safety Committee about a fire police building. That is definitely something that needs to be done for multiple reasons. For us, it's space, but it's also, going back to Councilman Lydian's talking about ISO, that is one thing ISO will certainly look at, and that's what they call distribution. And they want to see a fire station, ideally, I understand this is in a perfect situation, a mile and a half, that every piece of property would have a fire engine within a mile and a half driving radius. That becomes a very pricey proposition because brick and mortar is very expensive. We would probably need 2 more fire stations to give adequate coverage, but that can't be fixed in next year's budget or the year after next budget. That goes back to the plan you're referring to, and I wholeheartedly submit that that's the way we need to be going. Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Simpson, go ahead.
Well, I want to start off with, I got several questions,
Yes, sir.
but like you said, show me the money.
Yes.
And so I was looking at the budget that we all got here, and I had a question, and you may not be able to answer this
Yes, sir.
tonight without.
I'll try my best.
But with the technical supplies, where does that fit into the?
That was what the original, my understanding of what the original budget was $625,000 for a fire engine as part of that money. The rest of it was going to be to equip that truck because it was going to be an additional pumper. If we use the ladder truck, we'll take all the equipment off of it to put on, because they don't come equipped, they come stripped down pretty much with the exception of some real basic items. So instead of using that money for a pumper and equipment, we could apply all that money towards just the truck because we would have the equipment in not surplus, but already in use.
So that 150,000 plus the 731 would cover it without messing with the, well, you still may have to do something with the volunteer.
That's correct, and we feel certain that we can put that truck on either Gov Deals or a vendor's site and recover some of our investment that has already been made in that truck, as far as it may be 75,000. I don't know what it's going to bring until we put it out there for sale. But from estimates we've got, we've heard some people say 100,000. I think that may be a little aggressive in my opinion. But
That's another part of it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump ahead of that.
That's on down. But, and I understood the way you explained the ISO. You know,
Yes, sir.
you got to understand where we're coming from.
Sure.
Every time we've done something with the fire department, boy, your insurance going down, ISO.
Right.
Well, you know, I haven't seen it.
And you're correct.
And but my question is on that is if we keep the truck, will it help us with the ISO?
ISO, this particular purchase to be specific, would not change the ISO rating just by purchasing this truck, no, sir.
But if we keep the one that we've got, it's not gonna, and we're gonna be lucky to get whatever we can get out of it, because if it's unsafe, and I wanna touch on that.
Yes, sir.
I don't think there's anybody in this room
Right.
that wants to send these boys up in a unsafe condition.
Right.
So don't think that
No,
that's
I don't think
where
that.
we're at. And really, I guess we're glad that we found out that it won't bring a fireman and somebody else down. But by keeping that truck, you don't think that would affect the ISO at all?
ISO, we have two issues. You only get part of a point for what they call reserve or backup truck. So we wouldn't get full credit for it, keeping it. The bigger issue is we're out of space. We don't have any place to put it. You know what I'm saying? There's only two bays, the two on the Broadway side, that are tall enough to accommodate a full height truck. The other trucks we have in the other bays, we actually, way before I was here, they actually had to take the light bars and knock the legs off of them just to get it where it wouldn't hit the beams of the roof in the fire station.
Well, now that comes from the next question.
Okay. I think I'm reading your mind here,
You
so.
must have.
Telepath, I cheated.
But now, when you put this bid out, is it gonna fit our truck? I mean, fit our bays?
Absolutely.
Or is it we're gonna have to park it outside until we get a?
No, and that's a good point, is that it would have to go where the ladder truck currently sits now. So that ladder truck would have to go, for example, if you look, as the councilman did at some of those websites, you can say, selling this truck, but you can't take delivery of it until we get our truck. So in other words, if XYZ Fire Department bought the ladder truck we have now, the stipulation would be they don't get their truck until we get our truck. So then they'd write a check and drop off into the sunset, and we would put our new truck inside the building.
That's my question.
But what you need to also, I think, stress is that not the same truck that did stress welding on fractures or cracks?
I think Ernie, he's been here a lot longer than I have. Obviously, Ernie Kyle's one of our firefighters, is on the truck committee, and I think pretty much every time it gets tested, there are stress fractures that need to be welded as
Yes,
well.
we have a professional welder. We have a professional welder come in every year after ladder testing, and they have to weld stress cracks in the torque box, as Chief mentioned earlier, every year since we've had the truck.
Okay.
Councilman Hagan, Francis, I'll get back to you. I'd like to have everybody else get a chance, please.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I didn't see anything, okay.
Yeah, I have a question. This volunteer fire department fees, what is that?
That is where we reimburse our volunteers for training and fire responses they come to.
Okay.
I believe in looking historically at past budgets, I wasn't here, that number was based when it was a joint corporation, before the split.
Okay.
I think they had, but last fiscal year, they spent $60-some thousand on volunteer fees.
Okay.
Now that we're responding now in the city, that has decreased.
Okay, and I'm going to ask, I think the same question that Bobby asked, but maybe in a different way. The equipment that we are not going to buy, let's just speak generically.
Yes, sir.
In general terms. The equipment we're not going to buy in order to buy this new ladder truck, if we do, are we putting that off, or are we eliminating that cost?
We're eliminating the cost because we'll be, for lack of a better word, we're recycling or reusing
Okay.
the equipment we have now.
So back kind of to Keisha's point, that's not going to come around next year and
No,
get
sir.
back on the budget again?
No, sir. Not for that truck, absolutely not.
And, okay, I'm done.
Councilman Buckman, I know you had yours up, and then
Bobby covered a lot of them, but last year on the budget, we appropriated, we already had $731,000 and change for a new truck.
Yes.
And if we sell the old truck and it's just money from the firefighter, we can buy a new truck with a warranty and move on with it and have long service out of it. So why are we looking at a used truck?
That would be my question as well. Yes, sir.
We got the money for a new truck, we need to stick with a new truck.
I'm going to.
Councilman Williams.
The question I have is, obviously, if we try and get something that fits within the confines of what we have, it has to be specially made or whatever.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm just thinking outside the box here. Would it be feasible to alter the height of the roof in the fire department as a temporary stopgap to deal with this issue?
I think, and
I'll answer that.
I was gonna say.
They've done that once.
Yes.
They went inside and altered that roof to the maximum that they can to still be structurally safe, and they can't do anything else to it. And because I thought of the same thing, Councilman Williams, and it can't do it.
yeah, I know they, as the mayor said, that it had been altered with a different column to catch one end of the building, and then it's got another pitch going down the other way, so there's about a 2 foot or so height differential on the two end bays. To remodel the other ones, personally, I'm not a construction person. I think it'd be a very pricey proposition, in my opinion, but that's, without pricing it, I couldn't tell you.
If you wanted to make that fit,
I was
you
gonna
have
say,
to tear it completely off and start over from scratch.
so the same could be said for adding an additional bay onto the building, let's say on the 5th Street side. If we were to go to the 5th Street side and put an addition on, but have a higher roof.
But you could do that, but what the cost of that would be, and then you have to look at the issues of when those trucks are pulled in, what we're having is we don't have the showers. I think help me with the people that do this study, is when firemen come back from fires, they should and have to take showers because the smoke and what they go through, and firemen have the highest rate of cancer in almost any other occupation. It's an occupational hazard. That's
The state legislature just passed,
Yes.
this session just passed a cancer bill, and that's because of the high incidence because of what the guys are exposed to, and they come back, and right now at the facility we're in there, we have one shower, and we'll have, not including just the paid guys, which can be 8 at a time, because then you bring the volunteers in on top of it, so now you may have 20 people, and we got one shower. And
these
Obviously,
guys the volunteers don't want to leave, get in their personal vehicles, and go home and have that in their vehicles, and then they have their turnout gear that they have to wash and sanitize also. So we're really, we're really behind the times in that aspect. Then the other thing is, if we hire a female firefighter, we're going to be in a real big trick bag, if you want to put it that way. Because we have to meet those accommodations also, and there are 3 women that are looking to come aboard. So what do we do then?
Okay, well, I understand all that, and so he went into more detail, and I already knew about the other thing, but I was just thinking in terms of enough
right, space for
fire.
that truck, I understand, Councilman, I do. And like I say, if you were asking my opinion, I would say it's probably not feasible, but once again, I'm not a construction person, so I couldn't give a professional opinion on that.
I have to do my due diligence and
Sure.
ask those questions.
I have a question. I want Buckman to do the math with me. Look at the line item in the tech equipment. If you buy this new truck and hope that you get $75,000 for this new truck, it's not guaranteed.
No, sir, it's not.
I'm gonna say if you do math with me.
I've already done that.
If you do $75,000 per truck and buy this new truck, you almost wipe out this line item. You won't have $1,700 left. And if you do not sell this truck for 75, you have a big deficit in the fire department. If you do the math.
But we still have,
I
we still have other line items.
well, you got down the line of $8,000, but that's not going to cover everything, because if you don't get $75,000, it's not guaranteed, but you might not get but $30,000 for that truck. So if you don't get $30,000, that's $40,000, $50,000 a debit in this budget.
In that line item.
I mean, when I won't be in this line, it will be a deficit at the bottom line in the budget. It will be, I don't know math, it'll be a deficit. So get back, if you do the math, you look this way and you look this way, you could have a deficit. You'll wipe out that count. We got 3 more months to go, and you may need some more equipment, right?
No,
I mean, you guarantee you don't need no more tech equipment in the next 3 months. And not guarantee, you never know what something might happen.
I can't imagine having you something catastrophic.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But, I mean, you don't take chances like that. You always, you never like to take chances like that because you need something back there just in case.
I thought the money was budgeted, so it would be utilized.
Well, I mean,
So we sit there like.
it do not indicate,
I mean,
it do not indicate in there just for the truck. I mean, they cover many aspects in the fire department. And to get to my other question, when you said that ISO had something to do with the building, we've been very misled. I thought when we got this 24 for fire department, ISO would go
That's a
down.
part of it.
But my insurance haven't gone down.
If, I used to work for ISO.
I know.
So I think I can speak with some
Right.
authority in that thing.
Right.
ISO, the rating covers it's not just staffing, it's not just trucks.
I agree.
It's our water system, it's our dispatch, it's everything that comes into play. So adding career people, will it help your ISO? Absolutely, I can say 100% affirmative.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, it will, because career staff versus volunteer staff, ISO gives much more credit to career staff. It's not that we don't have great volunteers, we do, and I cherish every one of them, but ISO realizes at 3 o'clock in the morning, they have to get up, get dressed, drive to the fire station, get the fire truck, then go to the fire. With a full-time crew, that takes that away. So the time, fire doesn't sit there in idle mode waiting on you to get there. It grows and grows and grows exponentially. So the ISO rating is, and that goes back to Councilman Copeland's about a plan, and I applaud her for saying that because that's the only way you're going to overcome the ISO rating is with a plan. You can't piecemeal you can't go out and say, I'm going to buy a tanker and lower the ISO. I'm going to go out and hire one extra person and lower the ISO. That doesn't work. It's an all-encompassing survey. It's not just one issue. And there are many issues: fire stations, staffing, hydrants and water systems, training, dispatch. There's a myriad of things that the ISO survey looks at. Fire apparatus is one piece of that. One piece of it. So I think the Councilman Buckman asked that question: is buying this truck will lower the ISO rating? No. Buying this one truck will not in itself lower the ISO.
I'm glad you told us up front.
It will not. Buying any truck won't do that. Buying any truck will not in itself lower your
The
ISO.
taxpayers have been misled, and we need more discussion like this, educate the public and taxpayer. I mean, we do all this stuff,
Absolutely. And we can bring somebody to my
and
ISO.
we get all the feedback.
Absolutely.
And my intention not to put you on a hot seat, but
Oh, no,
my intention to represent all taxpayers. Okay.
And here's like I said, I've been in this a long time, here's my view on it is, you're in that seat to ask me the hot seat questions. Because you're representing everybody, and if I can't justify it to you all, then it doesn't make sense to the average citizen. So I wholeheartedly agree with you.
Let me go to Councilman Simpson, go ahead.
Well, I think what you're asking for is permission to send out the bids for these specific, I think we've got our specifications
Yes, sir.
in the computer.
Yes, sir.
And so if it would be in order,
Yes, it is.
I would make a motion that we give you permission to ask for bids with these conditions and things that's in the computer. I can't read all those.
You want to make a motion to approve them to do a fire apparatus purchase proposal.
That's what.
All right, do I have a second?
A second.
All right, discussion?
Mayor, can I assume from your comments that your opinion is that we should do this?
Well, let me ask you this. You've got 3 firemen here. What is their life worth? When that truck was tested, I sat out there. It did not hold its weight. It did not hold the welding that's taking place. In my opinion, absolutely. Because that's what value do you place on these 3 guys?
Also, everybody should understand that this is just to solicit bids. It's not to
That's not the
accept
purchase. It's just to get a bid.
At the end of that, you all could reject all bids.
Yes.
Right.
and not purchase a piece of equipment.
And I think, and to add to that, I think that the fire chief sat there and actually validated and the other,
Are we,
Fireman Powell, excuse me just a minute, please.
you're not in question, Mayor, you out of order.
So,
We have a motion on the floor, you out of order, Mayor.
No, I'm answering
Councilman
this
Lydian,
question.
we're in discussion, sir.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So anyway, according to the chief and Fireman Powell back there, they stated that they felt that the truck is unsafe. Now, Councilman Lydian, go right ahead, sir. We're in discussion still.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay, let's move on. I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Simpson, second by Councilman Buckman. All in favor? Those opposed?
No.
Ms. Copeland, how did you vote?
This is for, yes.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you. Yes, 5 to 1. Motion's adopted. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.